The Alaska Electrician Journeyman exam is a closed book exam based solely on the 2002 National Electrical Code, or NEC. The exam typically consists of multiple choice questions. The majority of the questions are multiple choice, testing your understanding of NEC requirements. There are also application questions. These questions require you to apply NEC rules to specific scenarios. There are also code lookup questions, where you may be asked to locate specific articles or sections in the NEC. According to available information, there are no calculation problems in the Alaska Electrician Journeyman exam. You are only allowed to use the 2002 NEC paperback with tabs and highlighting during the exam. No other reference materials are permitted. To prepare for the Alaska Electrician Journeyman exam, consider the following tips. Firstly, thoroughly study the 2002 NEC. This is the only reference material you will have access to during the exam. Secondly, practice using tabs and highlighting. Become familiar with using tabs and highlighting to quickly find information in the NEC. Thirdly, take practice exams. There are practice exams available that can help you identify areas where you need more preparation. Fourthly, focus on application questions. Understand how to apply NEC rules to practical scenarios. Finally, manage your time wisely. The exam typically has a time limit, so it is important to pace yourself and allocate your time effectively. Successfully navigating the Alaska Electrician Journeyman exam requires a solid understanding of the 2002 NEC. Since it is a closed book exam, your knowledge of the code will be your primary tool. Spend ample time reviewing the different articles and sections, paying close attention to definitions, tables, and specific requirements. Familiarize yourself with the structure of the NEC so you can quickly locate information when needed. Highlighting and tabbing are permitted and can be extremely helpful. Develop a system that works for you, such as highlighting key phrases or tabbing frequently referenced sections. Remember that only the 2002 NEC paperback is allowed, so practice exclusively with that version. Since there are no calculation problems in the exam, focus your efforts on understanding the code itself. Application questions will test your ability to apply NEC rules to real-world scenarios. Practice interpreting the code and visualizing how it would be implemented in different situations. Consider how various articles and sections relate to each other and how they would work together in a system. Code lookup questions will require you to quickly locate specific information in the NEC. Practice using the index and table of contents to find the articles and sections you need. The more familiar you are with the organization of the NEC, the faster you will be able to locate information during the exam. Managing your time effectively is crucial. The exam has a time limit, so you need to pace yourself and avoid spending too much time on any one question. If you are unsure of an answer, make an educated guess and move on. You can always come back to it later if you have time. Before the exam, make sure you are well rested and prepared. Bring all necessary materials such as your 2002 NEC paperback, tabs, and highlighters. Review the exam rules and regulations so you know what to expect. During the exam, read each question carefully and make sure you understand what is being asked. Eliminate any obviously wrong answers and then choose the best answer from the remaining options. If you are unsure of an answer, trust your instincts and make an educated guess. Remember to stay calm and focused and use your time wisely. By thoroughly studying the 2002 NEC, practicing with tabs and highlighting, focusing on application questions, and managing your time effectively, you can increase your chances of success in the Alaska Electrician Journeyman exam. Focus on key areas of the 2002 NEC such as Article 100, definitions, Article 210, branch circuits, Article 215, feeders, Article 220, branch circuit, feeder and service calculations, Article 230, services, Article 250, grounding and bonding, Article 300, wiring methods, Article 310, conductors for general wiring, Article 400, flexible cords and cables, Article 406, receptacles, core connectors, and attachment plugs, Article 408, switchboards and panelboards, Article 430, motors, motor circuits and controllers, Article 440, air conditioning and refrigerating equipment, Article 500, hazardous or classified locations, Article 517, healthcare facilities, Article 547, agricultural buildings, Article 550, mobile homes, manufactured homes, and mobile home parks, Article 600, electric signs and outline lighting, Article 625, electric vehicle charging systems, Article 680, swimming pools, fountains, and similar installations, Article 690, solar photovoltaic systems, Chapter 9 tables, Annex C cable fill. When studying for the exam, prioritize understanding how the various articles and sections of the NEC interact. This is particularly important for application questions that require you to apply multiple code rules to a specific scenario. For example, consider a question involving the installation of a receptacle in a dwelling unit. You would need to know the requirements for receptacle spacing as specified in Article 210.52. You would also need to be aware of the grounding requirements in Article 250 and the wiring method requirements in Article 300. Additionally, you might need to consider the type of overcurrent protection required by Article 240. By understanding how these different articles and sections relate to each other, you can more effectively answer application questions. It is also important to be familiar with the tables in Chapter 9 of the NEC. These tables provide valuable information on conductor ampacity, conduit fill, and other important parameters. For example, Table 310.16 provides the allowable ampacities of insulated conductors based on their insulation type and ambient temperature. Table 310.15 provides adjustment factors for conductors installed in raceways or cables where there are more than 3 current-carrying conductors. Annex C provides examples of conduit and tubing fill calculations for conductors and cables. Knowing how to use these tables is essential for answering calculation-based questions and ensuring that your electrical installations comply with the NEC. Since the exam permits highlighting and tabbing, you should develop a system that allows you to quickly locate important information. Use different colors of highlighters to mark different types of information, such as definitions, tables, or specific requirements. Use tabs to mark frequently referenced sections or articles. Make sure your highlighting and tabbing system is consistent and easy to use so you can quickly find what you need during the exam. Another important tip is to practice with the 2002 NEC paperback. This is the only reference material you will be allowed to use during the exam, so you need to be comfortable with its layout and organization. Use practice exams to simulate the actual testing environment and get a feel for the types of questions that will be asked. Focus on understanding the underlying concepts and principles of the NEC rather than just memorizing specific rules. This will help you apply the code to different scenarios and answer application-based questions more effectively. Finally, make sure you are well rested and prepared on the day of the exam. Get a good night's sleep, eat a healthy breakfast, and arrive at the testing center early. Bring all the necessary materials, such as your 2002 NEC paperback, tabs, highlighters, and a calculator if permitted. Read the instructions carefully and manage your time wisely. Stay calm and focused, and trust in your knowledge and preparation. Before the exam begins, take a few deep breaths to calm your nerves and clear your head. Read each question carefully and make sure you understand what is being asked. If you are unsure of an answer, eliminate any obviously wrong choices and then select the best answer from the remaining options. Do not spend too much time on any one question. If you are stuck, mark the question and come back to it later if you have time. Use the process of elimination to narrow down your choices. Even if you are not sure of the correct answer, you may be able to eliminate some of the incorrect options. This will increase your chances of guessing correctly. If you have time remaining at the end of the exam, review your answers and make any necessary corrections. Pay particular attention to questions that you marked as unsure. Make sure you have answered all the questions before submitting your exam. The Alaska Electrician Journeyman exam evaluates your knowledge and understanding of the 2002 NEC. By thoroughly preparing and using effective test-taking strategies, you can increase your chances of success. Remember to focus on understanding the underlying concepts and principles of the NEC, practice with the 2002 NEC paperback, and manage your time wisely. This may include topics like general requirements for electrical installations, wiring and protection, wiring methods and materials, equipment for general use, special occupancies, special equipment, and special conditions. Focus on understanding the code requirements related to each of these topics. For example, under general requirements for electrical installations, you should be familiar with the requirements for grounding, bonding, overcurrent protection, and wiring methods. Under wiring and protection, you should understand the requirements for branch circuits, feeders, and services. Under wiring methods and materials, you should be familiar with the different types of wiring methods and their applications. Under equipment for general use, you should understand the requirements for switches, receptacles, luminaires, and appliances. Under special occupancies, you should be familiar with the requirements for hazardous locations, healthcare facilities, and agricultural buildings. Under special equipment, you should understand the requirements for electric signs, elevators, and data processing equipment. Under special conditions, you should be familiar with the requirements for emergency systems, standby power systems, and fire alarm systems. In addition to studying the code requirements, it is also important to understand the definitions of key terms. Article 100 of the NEC provides definitions for many commonly used terms. Understanding these definitions will help you interpret the code correctly. Since the Alaska Electrician Journeyman exam is based on the 2002 NEC, it is important to use the correct version of the code when studying. Do not use a newer version of the code, as the requirements may be different. You can purchase a copy of the 2002 NEC paperback from several sources. You can also find online resources that provide information on the 2002 NEC. When studying for the exam, it is helpful to create flashcards or other study aids. This will help you memorize key information and definitions. You can also use practice exams to test your knowledge and identify areas where you need more study. There are several online resources that offer practice exams for the Alaska Electrician Journeyman exam. These practice exams can help you prepare for the actual exam. The Alaska Electrician Journeyman exam is a challenging exam, but it is possible to pass with adequate preparation. By thoroughly studying the 2002 NEC, understanding the key concepts and definitions, and practicing with sample exams, you can increase your chances of success.